Recording, there it is. Okay. Recording started. Now we have started. So let me just give a recap. So we're in the process of generating a new license. We got this one from Victor, who has all components and all other suites tied to this dongle. We're going to go ahead and continue the process of installing EnCase using this electronic license ID. I just wanted to at least put that in there so we have a point of reference.
Should I go ahead and just run this here?
Yeah, go ahead and run that.
Let's do this again. So it's X10,837,566,1. It shouldn't matter if the X is uppercase or lowercase, correct? Or I'm not finding this.
Are the suet name, JC?
Oh yeah, you do it by suet. Do suet name. Cancel that out and then wipe. Yeah, that one there.
Daryl, I'm going to reply back to Ilian, let him know that we're okay with the meeting being canceled.
Okay. What am I doing here? Am I gonna go to?
All right. So now that you're there, you're gonna click on guidance key, and then from here you're gonna click on Cert Gen Electronic, which is the first one, and then you can click on the yeah. Go ahead and click on that grid on the far right. Right where it shows record 1 of 5. What it says 1 of 5, just right above your cursor, and then you're gonna scroll to the right. Scroll to the right, all the way to the right. Click on that. Show grid form. Okay, and then here you're gonna click on the drill in button, which is that green arrow button right above.
Which one, Daryl?
Okay, so you see that green white arrow to the right.
White arrow.
Okay, there's 3. So directly above, what you see where the pencil is.
Yes.
Okay, now go to the right. That's called the drill in button. So just kind of reference that. That's called the drill in button. So we're going to be using that button quite often. Go ahead and click on that button there. All right, so this is going to show all the registered users for this dongle ID. What we want to do now is we're going to click on the attachments tab. So before you do that, go back into the registered users. So when you're here and you're using ITSM to generate a license file for a customer, at any point in time, this is blank. It prevents you from generating a license file. So always make sure that there's a record in here that's populated. It can be 1 or it can be 50. As long as there's just a record in here, then you can create a license file. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and click on the attachments tab, and then go ahead and click on new attachment. So here is where you're going to attach your rag file. So the one that you just generated, go ahead and point to that.
It should be.
Oh, another thing too, this is going to be the local machine within ITSM, so just click on C if you scroll down. Yes, so you're going to see 2 local Cs, one on your local and then the other one on ITSM. So you're going to click on local C on Camacho, and then here is where you're going to navigate to that rack file.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before we generate this file, it always is going to throw up error messages if we don't save it. So go ahead and save that that configuration.
This, okay.
All right. So now we can actually generate this license file. So go ahead and click on Generate License File. Breathing pretty loud there, Victor.
It's you for a minute. Right, is that better?
Yeah.
It's because safe installation gets me so excited.
All right, go ahead and click on the refresh key or the refresh button right there. Yeah, I think you can do that right there as well. Okay, cool. So now you see where it generates a route file. Now, when you're working with the customer, you can either do one or two things. You can download this file, and the way to download this file is you click on that. You see that a paper clip there, and you can open. So that allows you to download it to your machine, or you can cancel that out and then click on Send License Email. I normally do this because it actually creates a document on the process of where to store this data to. Okay, so it gives you that document, and then it gives us this text here below where it shows exactly that, hey, blah 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 blah. This is your serial number and all that good stuff. So you can take advantage of that when you're sending out a license file to the customer. Okay. All right. So you can cancel this out.
Oh.
Yeah. Then here you want to save it since we're on our local machine. We're going to go ahead and save it to your local machine. Click on Save, and then leave it there.
Leave it here. Okay.
Your last location. So in the EnCase folder.
Then this is the users. Okay, that's done. Now I'm gonna just click on finish.
No, click on the ellipsis button. And that's the three dots in the EnCase GUI in the interface. Click on those three dots there.
Just right
Next
here.
to yeah, there you go.
All right, and then go ahead and highlight that file, the RAU file, and then click on Open. All right, now you can click on Finish.
Now, Dara, we would rather have the customers go through MySupport and do this, right? Because what I usually do, I just give customers access to the license, and then they're able to do this on their own.
You're absolutely 100% correct. Now, let's just say they don't have access for whatever reason, and we need to do it on the back end of ITSM. This is the process of how to do it from ITSM.
Got it.
So we recorded it, so now we have a way of doing it. So now you can reference this back. What I'll do at the end of the session, I'll store this onto the Confluence page, where we can, if let's say a month from now, like, wow, how do we do that? You can just go to that video and just select a section of the video, and then you can, send that route file out to the customer.
Okay.
All right. So you go ahead and close this out. And then launch EnCase again. You can minimize this.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. So now you have Endpoint Investigator installed. Okay, so you have all those certs in there and all that good stuff. The dongle is flagged for Enterprise and Safe, so you have the ability to log on to the safe. Now, let's just assume this dongle flag only showed safe. Then when when you launch EnCase is only going to show up in EnCase forensic.
Acquisition.
Well, it'll show up in forensic mode because it's a forensic license key, because that's how the way the license is structured. So since it shows EI and save, then you have the ability to launch EnCase and come up in EnCase investigator mode. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just explain that again. So if this flag was removed, if there was an endpoint investigator and it was only safe, when you launch EnCase, it would only bring up EnCase forensic. Okay, since they're both flagged together, it's showing as endpoint investigator. So it gives this dongle ID, this electronic license ID, gives the ability to log on to the safe on the same machine.
Okay.
And then here you have your modules. You have all your decryption suite here listed on the right-hand side. So that's good. Okay. All right. So now the first thing that we want to do now that you installed Investigator is you want to create your own set of encryption keys. So go ahead and close out of this window, and then click on Tools. Go ahead and click on Generate Encryption Keys, and then go ahead and click on Next. All right, so the first set of encryption key that we want to create is called Keymaster. All right, and then here your password, you can put in any password you like, or you can just type in Keymaster as a password so you won't forget that password.
Everything lowercase?
Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, if you want to type in Keymaster with a capital K, or it's entirely up to you. I just do it just uniform, where the username and password is just identical.
Okay.
And go ahead and click on Finish. And so this is a Keymaster public key file. So the Keymaster public key file is a file that you're going to use for distribution. Kind of think of your key pairs as your private keys, what you want to keep to yourself. You don't want to deliver or send anyone your Keymaster private key. That Keymaster is obviously going to be the Keymaster private key file is going to be used to decrypt the data that you have. So just kind of remember that the Keymaster private key, you don't want to send that out. You have it for your own safekeeping. The public key file is what you're going to be using for distribution. That's why they call it a public key file. You can send that out. So the way it's kind of in the same type of encryption algorithm that we use is somewhat similar to PGP. So when you send data out to, let's say, an email out to a customer and you encrypt it, well, the only way they can decrypt the data that you're sending to them is if they have your public key file. Okay, and that's the public key file that they will use to decode the message that you're transmitting over to them.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and save this file. You can save it into the same location as your EnCase keys folder. All right, cool.
Did I do that right, Daryl? Because I clicked save while you was talking. So.
No, you did that right. So go ahead and click on Tools again. I'm sorry, and then go ahead and click on Generate Encryption Keys.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we created the Keymaster key pair, the Keymaster key pair is going to be used to do your initial installation. It's going to be used to create your users. It's going to be done to create your roles, to your network configuration, and all that good stuff. So we want to make sure that we at least have your Keymaster key pairs in place before you do anything else. So now what we want to do is we want to create another key pair, and this is going to be your key pair. So once we set up your, the safe using the Keymaster, then we want to delegate the God permissions, if you will, over to a user that can do the function of an investigation. Because a Keymaster cannot assume a role, or cannot assume a role of an investigator. It's only its primary use is just to do the initial configuration and delegate permissions and all that good stuff. So, but once you delegate once it inherits permissions from the Keymaster, you can use your user to do everything else, as a Keymaster role does. So go ahead and click on Next.
Now this is going to be the public key.
Yeah, so what we want to do here is you're going to create your own user, your own private key. So you can type in your first initial last name or your first name dot last name. It's entirely up to you how you want to do your naming convention. And then your password.
I can't use it the same as the keymaster, correct?
You can. You can.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and click on Finish. And you go ahead and save it to the same location. All right, very cool. So now that we have Investigator up and running, that's done. Now we want to go ahead and either install License Manager and save. Okay, so Vic, on your key, does it have LM enabled?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool. All right.
Let's match it.
So let's go ahead and bring up the latest 8.09 install.
On MySupport. Okay.
And Vic, to confirm, we canceled that meeting for 11?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm not even sure what that meeting was for.
Feature request, customer feature request.
Oh yeah, I see it here. Okay.
What am I doing?
Yeah, it's okay. I think it's in there as well. You can go there. And so you can use, you don't need the safe configuration tool, but you need the guidance software 809. Yep, you can use that one. Oh, well, actually use the one on top because that's a 64-bit version.
Okay, and this is 32?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me. In the meantime, also download the safe configuration tool, so we'll talk about that as well.
Did you get the license manager installed?
No, should I do that as well?
Well, this is a combined installer though, right?
No, they're separate now.
Oh. Nice.
See? It's right there.
So-
EnCase.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yeah, download the 64-bit version.
Okay.
And that's to accommodate the virtual machines now, remember?
So that's okay. So okay. Well, that question could come later.
What was it?
The configuration tool. It's that needed. What is it exactly?
Go ahead, Victor.
Oh, so the safe configuration tool is pretty much almost like a shortcut of configuring your safe once you have everything installed. Honestly, it comes in hand when you're running e-discovery. If you're only licensed for e-discovery, and that's to configure like the enhanced agent. Because with e-discovery, is that right, Daryl?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's exactly what it's used. So once you have your endpoint security installed or even e-discovery, and you want to either reconfigure or even pointing your keys to a different location, that tool comes in handy. And we'll launch it in just a minute so you can actually see what it does. But that's exactly why they kind of designed it. So I don't know if you remember, Victor. So when sometimes when you launch eDiscovery and you click on and people will point their keys to a different location, but you know how eDiscovery is hard coded where it has to look at your keys folder.
Yeah.
Well, that's where that tool comes in, where you don't have to move them back to this to that main keys folder. You can just point it somewhere else, since that is hard coded into the code.
Okay.
All right. So let's install License Manager first. Oh man, I was feeling bad earlier, and I took some vitamin C, and that gave me a boost of energy.
Let me just minimize this because it's just. Why can't I minimize? Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, you can't. There is no way
Oh.
to minimize that screen or even expand it, or even
It's
so
gonna
you're
be a
gonna have
problem here.
you're gonna have to get comfortable with tabs. So you're gonna have to tab, enter.
Okay, so it says okay.
Yes, click on yes. And then I agree. All right, so let me kind of go through this process or talk about this. So the create new key is during your initial setup. This is a process where it's going to create these individual keys. It's going to be your safe private key, your SPVK file, and your safe backup that SPVK file that it generates here. Import existing private key is that if you already have an existing safe there, you can import that existing safe. I think here it looks for your save private key.spvk. The third option is use keys from existing installation, is if you already have your safe already built out and all your files are pretty much there. It's going to look for a specific file called your machine file. So as long as your .machine file is in place, then it's going to highlight that option and you can continue the installation. Sometimes when it doesn't do a quick update, it's going to bring up this interface, and then by default, use key from existing installations already enabled. Read key from safe license manager backup token is your backup.spvk file. We'll go through all that too, so you have an idea. Uninstall and remove the license manager. That's pretty self-explanatory. And read from backup. So that's when you create a configuration file. It will basically read from that backup file from there. The advantages, I think, in my opinion, from all of these options that you see here, is that read from backup token will save and store all of your existing settings that you have, whereas your other options, it does not. So even though you can continue to use your license manager or even your safe, you would still have to go through the process of creating your users, your network topology, your roles, all that good stuff. So that would be the advantage and disadvantage of using one from the other. So if you ever get to the point of once you have everything installed, let's create a backup configuration file. So everything is pretty much there. You don't have to do everything again. And again, like I said, it retains your servlet, so you don't have to deploy this again. Okay.
And everything that Daryl just said applies to the safe. It doesn't apply to the license manager.
Right.
Because it's for the license manager here. So just keep in mind, anytime moving forward, if a customer does say they have to restore or move their safe, The safe is the one that where you want to do the backup or the safe configuration package there. The license manager is really irrelevant because there isn't a special setting store for the license manager.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. But the interface is exactly identical to the safe. As a matter of fact, they should actually just remove, these here because it doesn't, so it's not as confusing. But yeah, if what Victor said is absolutely correct on license managers. So, I mean, it's all its purpose for license manager. Let me kind of talk about that too. So, the difference between license manager and safe is that license manager is used to distribute licenses across a network. Think of physical dongles or even electronic licenses that you have. So with license manager, what you're doing is that instead of giving a physical dongle to an investigator or, hey, here's this electronic license key, what this would do is that once you install EnCase, it's going to distribute a license remotely once you enable, and configure your NAS. So you don't have to have a physical dongle or you have to have an electronic license key. That is being delivered from the license manager server. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And just stop me if if you need a little bit more clarity. Say, Daryl, I wasn't really, I'm not sure about what you just said. Can you just expand on that? And I can. I mean, the whole point of this session is just to make sure that you guys really have a good understanding of these components. So if you're not sure of what I'm talking about, please stop me, and let me know, just to expand on something. Okay. All right, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to create a new key. So go ahead and create that key. And before you click on that, I was going to mention too. So the license manager is always going to be listed on port 4446. You can change that, depending on the network admins and their security engineers. They like to be really picky on the ports that they have enabled, just so that they don't have any type of or security risks. So, I mean, depending on their network security analyst, they may leave it or they may change it, just depending on on them, but by default, it's always going to be on 4446. Okay, so the license manager is always going to be running on 4446 by default, unless it's changed by, the security or network admins.
Okay.
Go ahead and click on next. So now it's generating that encryption key.
Should I leave it as EnCase alum or should I?
You can leave it, or you can change it. So this is a service name that it's going to generate in the services, in the services area. So this way you can identify which service is being running. I leave it by default. So here, the second option that you have is either use dongle or use electronic license. You're going to click on use electronic license.
And what about the enable event login? Should we select that?
Hold on one second. Peggy's messaging me. All right, sorry about that. Okay, yeah, you can either enable it or you can disable it. I like to enable it just so that I can see everything in your Windows event logs.
Okay. I can go ahead and generate the machine token file, correct?
Yes, correct. You can close that. All right. So now what it's based, so if you open up Windows Explorer and you go into your EnCase License Manager folder, it should be C Program Files, Guidance Software, and EnCase LM. Okay. Okay, so those are the two files that it generates, this lm private key.svbk and EnCase lm.machine file. So we can either use ITSM or we can use the support portal, but I think since we're already using ITSM, let's just use ITSM since I think you guys already know how to use MySupport to generate these files. So let's go ahead and use ITSM.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and close this out. Okay, click on the, actually just click on the X sign. Close that because there's two windows that are open. All right, so click on that. All right, so hold on one second. So this is going to be your license manager configuration. So you're going to click on Save Certificate. And go ahead and click on the drill down button. All right, you're going to click on Attachments. Ooh, let me clear that out. So for License Manager and Safe, we're going to use the same item. So we're going to use Safe Certificate for both License Manager and Safe.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey, Shannon. Okay, go ahead and click on the refresh button.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and click on New Attachment.
So we're uploading the setup file right now to ITSM.
Yeah, we're going to be uploading the Keymaster Keymaster public key file and the machine file.
Yeah. And then to get the setup file.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Go to your keys. So EnCase, you were there.
Oh, I was good.
And go into your keys folder. All right, so remember what I said earlier, that the files that you're going to be using to distribute are always your public key files. So in this instance, you're going to be submitting your Keymaster public key file. So this is the file that you're going to be using for the initial installation. So Keymaster public key file, click on Open. All right, and you're going to go ahead and click on Save. And then click on New Attachment again. And then you're going to navigate to your EnCase Guidance Software EnCase LM folder.
That's under program files, correct?
Correct.
That's right.
Backup one. Backup one again. Guidance software. Scroll up. On the one on top. EnCase LM.machine. All right, click on Save. And then here we're going to click on Generate License File like we did for your RAW file.
So I'm just going to refresh this here.
Yes.
And then I'm going to click on the send.
Okay, so make sure you highlight the right one. So so the second one you're going to see where it shows save certificate.setup. So that's the one that it generated. Now in a customer situation, you can either, download the file and directly send it over to them, or you can send a license file, send license email automation process. But again, I mean, in this demonstration, we can actually just save it to your local machine. So click on the paperclip and click on save, and then click on, so it's automatically pointing to your EnCase LM, which is fine. So go ahead and click on, let's rename this file just for clarity purposes and just so that we know what it is. Type in EnCase LM. And then remove that, yeah. And then click save. All right, cool. So now open up Windows Explorer, and then go to your EnCase. There should. Click on.
Should I go up one?
Hold on one second.
Oh, it's not there.
Hit F5. Refresh it. Refresh that screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't save it. That's okay. Let's just try saving it again. And just,
What file path
It is
is that?
there.
Guidance software EnCase LN this PC.
huh.
Should I just
No, cancel that out. Cancel and then open it up again. Cancel, then click on that. Yeah, it's click save.
oops.
Click save. And then click save again. All right, and then go ahead and open up your Windows Explorer. That's weird. Let's just navigate to it. So open up ITSM again. Maybe it's saving it to another location. Click on that paperclip. Save. Open. All right. Click on this PC. Scroll down. Click on the first one. Program files. Guidance software. EnCase LM.
And both files are there.
That is really weird. Cancel this out. Okay, minimize this.
Maybe exit out of Explorer and then go back in altogether.
Yeah, it's not here.
Click on the URL path on top,
Mm-hmm.
and then go back to where it was and click on the URL too.
What are you talking about?
Navigate to where you copy the file at, or downloaded the file at.
This?
An ITSM, Victor?
Yeah, so go ahead and download it again from ITSM. And hold on.
Click on the address bar. Yeah, click on that.
Yeah, up there. TS. It's on the thin client, that's why. It's saving it on the thin client C drive.
Yeah, but remember we went to.
But that's the, see where it says client?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, because that's exactly where we wanted to prevent it from doing it. But once we clicked on this PC, click on this PC, and then scroll down,
I clicked on.
and then yep, click on Jennifer.
I think it's supposed to be local, isn't it?
That is local now.
Yeah, and it's here.
Click on the
No,
address bar.
And it's still.
no, click on the other C drive.
Yeah. So it's actually, hold on. It's still saving it to the click client. Cancel. Back up to. Click on this PC again.
Mhm.
Okay, go scroll down.
It's not
Okay.
giving you the option.
Okay.
The name.
Click on local disk C. The one on top. The one on top. Okay, double click on that.
Then it should be users, and then JC.
No, because it's going to be program files, because that's where it installed it on. Program files. If you click on program files, and then click on the address bar on top again. Yeah, whatever. Okay, cancel this out. Just send an email over to yourself. Cancel this.
You know what you can do too? Just try one more thing. Click on it. Click on the download. Go to C. Go to the C.
Mhm. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
So do this. See where the backslash before programs?
Mhm.
Delete that and just put the C code
All the way back.
all the way back out.
One more. Remove that initial backslash. Yeah. C and then C colon. That's semicolon colon. Yeah. And hit enter.
Oh, it's because that's Citrix. That sucks.
Whatever. Just email it to yourself. I don't know why it's been acting that way.
So now if she users and then went to her name J Camacho, it wouldn't have had program files there as well.
Yeah, it wasn't there. Even though she navigated to it on C program files, it was still pointing back to that Citrix C local C directory.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's fine. We can always use this route.
So I just go ahead and just save this.
Yeah, go ahead and save that one. Click on Save As, and then copy it over to your local machine. C, program files, guidance software.
Should I rename this?
You
Or
don't
just
have to.
leave this?
Just leave it there.
Would you?
Mhm.
Now it's asking me if I would like to save it in the J Camacho folder instead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I still need to go to.
Oh, you know what? It's stupid. It's open text policy. So save it onto your desktop first, and then move it to your
Okay.
yeah, just save it there, and then copy it over to that file, onto that directory. Minimize this.
Oh God.
Continue. Oh, access denied. Continue.
Okay.
Was this COAC?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Um, that was
Yeah.
that was unpleasant. Okay, go ahead and minimize this, and then click on the ellipsis button, and then click on highlight that file there, and then click on open, and then go ahead and click on finish or tap to finish. You're gonna click on cancel, tab it twice. Hopefully you didn't click cancel. I clicked on back.
Oh my god. I won't even know.
Click on next. One more.
Oops.
Oh, you're hitting back. It's all right. You'll get it. You're gonna have to tab again. All right.
Yes, we're gonna click on.
Click no.
Open.
Click
No?
no.
It won't. It won't let me
Whatever. Yeah, click yes. That's fine. Close.
close.
All right.
It says the license manager certificate path must contain a valid path.
Yeah, because it's not it's named differently. That's why. Click on unless you want to rename it to EnCase LM, because right now it's called Safe Certificate.setup. That's why initially I wanted to name it EnCase LM because it's going to be easier to tab out of it instead of clicking on your cursor. So open up Windows Explorer again,
And just
and
rename
then
it.
just rename it to EnCase LM. Exactly identical to what you see on the machine file, so uppercase C.
And then remove this setup, right? Delete this setup.
No. So leave the setup fine. That's fine. But you see where it shows a lowercase c on EnCase?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Make that uppercase. You want it identical. Okay. All right. And then that's it. All right. Go back into your EnCase screen and go ahead and click on next.
So you had it was already a local admin on the box itself. Through a security group or on its own?
Click on yes. So this what it's doing here, it's going to make a copy of your EnCaseLM.save file. This is a safe public key file. This file here is going to be used to configure your NAS settings, and we'll talk about that in a minute once we have that already set up. So I'm going to click on save. It's going to ask you to overwrite it. Click yes, and then click OK. And then now your license manager has been successfully installed. So congratulations, we now completed one of two components. Yep. All right, so now let's go ahead and install the safe.
IUSRS. Okay. So what area discovery you access to, you may want to add this.
Okay. So it's the installation path. I'm gonna go ahead and click on next. Oh, well,
Click on yes to create that folder.
I agree.
All right, so now this is kind of like what you saw before, where it's going to create a new key, import existing key, and etc. So before, if you remember, your license manager was running on 4446. This is going to be running on 4445. As you obviously know, you can't have two applications running the same port because it gives a port conflict. Okay, so you wouldn't want to make sure that they're on two different port numbers. So go ahead and click on Next to create this key. All right, so this is your safe options. This is usually done for check-in. So let's say you have machines that are, it's a like for every organization, you obviously have laptops that are used in deployments where they have it not inside of your network. So these are like the sales reps. These are some of the guys in services that are always traveling. They go to hotels and log into their VPN. So this is a way to have your safe check into those set of machines that you've already kind of identified as your external nodes that are going to be checking into your safe. So this is called your check-in options or your servlet check-in options. So when you have this enabled, so it doesn't saturate your network, you can set those intervals when you have those machines checking in back to your safe as, hey, I'm available, I'm still alive, and update the servlet if necessary and all that good stuff. Okay. So by default, you can leave this blank. You can go ahead and click on Next. And then this is going to be your safe name. So you can be creative as you want. You can call this, JC safe or JM safe or, testing safe, or it's entirely up to you. Okay. Now the service name, I like to keep it as standard. So I would remove JM test to just safe. Yeah. So you know that's the service that it's creating. You can go ahead and enable event logging if you like. You can do that as well if you want to. So now, with the new safe, we actually incorporated 256-bit AES. So that's like the new standard for encryption, since 128 is a little bit legacy. As you can see, it's legacy AES 128. So now we have 256 support. So I would leave that option enabled to allow 128, because there was, I think, some issues where if you had that option disabled and some of the servlets were on the old legacy 128, it had some issues connecting to it. So we'll just make sure that allow legacy AES 128 connections is available. So we're going to click on Next. All right, so this is the same area here. We're going to click on, we're going to create a machine file and click on Next. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and back into your EnCase or ITSM option. And let me just clear that. Let me clear the screen here, or those files. So you're going to leave the keymaster public key there. We don't need to re-upload it, but we need to remove the, let's see here. So let me remove setup and the machine file.
Initially, you could use the same setup file.
Oh, you could?
License manager to the safe, yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's right, because it's the same machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, just for practicing purposes, we'll just redo it anyway. So go ahead and click on refresh this. Click on new attachment. And then you're going to point to your EnCase LM machine. The one below it. Oh, I'm sorry. Back up one directory. You're on your EnCase LM. So just go back into your safe. And, yep, the jmsafe.machine. And then go ahead and click on save. And then generate license file.
And do I need to resave this setup or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to have to email yourself again this new setup file. Go ahead and
Can't
click
save
on,
it.
yeah, go ahead and refresh this. All right, then go ahead and email you that setup file. But yeah, like Victor said, I mean, since we're on the same machine, if it was on a different machine, then we may not be able to use it because it's creating independent files that are tied to that specific hardware. But since it's on the same machine, we should be able to recycle that setup file. But that's fine. I mean, we're doing this as testing purposes anyway, so you have an idea of how to do it. So it's good practice.
Okay. I'm gonna save this to my desktop first, and then I'll.
Yeah, that's fine. Click on yes. It's the same one anyway. And then just copy that over to your. All right, go back into your EnCase safe, that part, and go ahead and click on the ellipsis button, and then highlight that file, click open, and then click finish. It usually takes about a couple minutes to generate this, all the data in the directory. Now, if you open up Windows Explorer and you go into your EnCase safe directory, see, well, you're in there now. So remember how it only had 2 files in there? So it's creating all these files in here. So it's creating all the keymaster DTs, your machine file, and essentially, all this data that you see here. So go back into your EnCase safe interface. I think it might have completed the screen behind this one.
Well, unable to listen on port 445.
Do you have? Is this your corporate machine?
Yes.
Okay. This is a perfect scenario. Do you know why it aired out?
Because of the firewall.
No.
No, because there's something else running on that port, right?
You're absolutely correct, Shannon. What other port is running on 4445, or what other application is running on
It
4445?
might be the N. What is it? The agent.
Yes, and start. So you have your corporate servlet running on 4445. If I would have known earlier this was on your corporate machine, we would have assigned it a different port number. Okay.
Yeah, it's the only machine I have.
It's a fine. So we're gonna have to click OK, and we're gonna have to reinstall this. Click OK.
Oh,
And
The whole thing?
not really.
turn it off, Daryl.
No, that's against corporate policy.
Oh.
Never turn off your agent on your corporate machine. Otherwise, you are subject to investigation.
Oh. Well, thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, and I think it's a group policy anyway, where you won't be able to stop it regardless.
Okay.
But if you're if you can go around that, that's a no-no. Okay, let's go ahead and restart it again. So let's restart the installer.
Very interesting.
Where is the safe?
How much time do we have, Jennifer? Because I know you have to leave in a little bit.
We have to 3 o'clock, so we're good for now. But if I have license manager and safe installed on my corporate machine, I can't have both running at the same time.
You can.
I could.
Yeah. So what do we have to do?
We have
Click,
to
oh,
what?
hold on. Click on no. Click no.
Mhm.
Okay. So to have the safe and license manager running the same machine, what do we have to do if there is some sort of port conflict?
Change the port.
Yeah, so
Yes,
port safe
exactly.
is on port, but there won't be a port conflict because it's two different.
Right. If you change the port number, there won't be a port conflict. Since the agent is running on 4445 and so does the safe, you can't have two applications running at the same time. So to circumvent the issue that we're having is we have to assign the safe port, a different number than 4445. Okay, so go ahead and click on next. Okay, so what are we going to give it? So we know 4445 it's already being used by the servlet. 4446 is it's already being used by license manager. So we can either use 4444 or 4447. I would give it 4447. And then click on next. So now this is pretty much like just next. Yeah, just override it. And then browse to your, navigate to that. Hold on one second.
I'm just pausing for Daryl, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like different patterns. Right.
All right, sorry about that. Yep, click on that. Click on open, and then
And
click finish.
make a copy of the.
Click yes. Click save. Click yes. Click OK. All right, your safe has been successfully installed. Good. So now we have your license manager installed, we have your examiner installed, and we have your safe installed. Okay, so now let's go ahead and close this out. All right, so now we can minimize that too. So here's a question for you guys. So we're going to launch Endpoint Investigator, and one or two things is going to happen. It's either going to come up in Endpoint Investigator or it's going to come up in EnCase Acquisition Mode. Which one do you think is going to come up in? And why? And why?
I would say acquisition mode. Maybe because you need to activate the license through code meter.
So you have a lifeline. Your lifeline is Victor.
How many times can we use them?
Just once. All right. So go ahead and launch Endpoint Investigator.
Okay, let's see. Acquisition mode. Okay.
Right.
I got one part of the answer right.
No, this means that we have to configure the file paths, correct? Within
But that
save the
doesn't.
keys
But
and
that
stuff.
doesn't answer though. That doesn't answer the question. Why is it coming up in EnCase acquisition mode?
It's
Hmm. I mean, yeah. Hmm.
It's because the license manager's service is actually running and it's tying up the license from the code meter.
Oh.
You're absolutely correct, Victor.
That was a freebie.
All right, so let's do this, okay? And let's show you exactly what Victor just said. Open up
Yeah.
your services. Open up component services.
mhm.
Okay, and you're going to see something in here called EnCase LM.
Yes.
Okay, do you see that service running?
Yeah.
Go ahead and stop that service.
Okay.
Okay, now go ahead and close out of EnCase. Okay, now another question: is EnCase going to launch an EnCase acquisition or EnCase endpoint investigator?
And case investigator.
Go ahead and launch it.
Yeah, because it detects the license now.
Yeah, so now it's pulling directly from the license, from your electronic license file. When you have your endpoint, when you have your license manager service running, it's going to use that license and host it onto your license manager and say, hey, I'm going to be responsible for distributing licenses across your network now. So if you have EnCase installed on the same machine as your license manager, it's going to expect you to configure Endpoint Investigator to pull that license from it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know if it doesn't. Let me know so I can maybe phrase it in a different way.
So you would have to basically activate the license through license manager, like save the certificate to license manager, that folder, cert folder.
Right. So now that we have License Manager installed, License Manager is now responsible for distributing licenses to any machine that has EnCase installed on. Okay, specifically this machine, since License Manager is now installed this machine, it's going to take priority, it's going to take precedence over that license. Whereas before it didn't have License Manager, so it was going to use the electronic license that it already has, and serve up EnCase. But now that we have License Manager installed, it's going to say, I'm going to have that license that you initially activated and use that as License Manager. So now if you want a license, you're going to have to talk to the License Manager person or component now, right? Kind of see it that way. And if you have it installed as a license manager now is asking for a set of requirements. Okay, so in order for me to serve a license out to you, there's specific parameters or specific things that I need you to do to request that license from me now. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go back and re-enable the license manager service.
Okay. So I'm going to start it back up.
Right. Oh, and there's actually one more thing that I want you to know, but this is a good troubleshooting step because you're probably going to run into this in the future, but we won't do that until we come across an area that we're going to want to preview a node. Okay, so let's do this. So now that we have EnCase LM running, let's go ahead and minimize this.
Services?
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and exit out of EnCase and launch it up again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now it's in acquisition mode because the EnCase LM service is running. So let's do a little bit of folder management here so we can actually have everything in the right folders, or the files in the right folder. So open up Windows Explorer. Okay, so within Windows Explorer, go into your Documents folder, and go into your EnCase folder. And here we're going to create a folder called NAS. Okay, and then let's go back into your keys folder. Okay, never mind. Back up one directory, and let's go into C program files EnCase LM, or guidance software LM. And EnCase LM, and go into your NAS folder in there, and see that default.nas.
Yes. Copy it.
Copy that file,
Mhm.
and then we're going to go ahead and copy it over to your Documents NAS folder. Okay, and then go back into your EnCase LM folder again. And you're going to copy a file here called .save, your EnCase LM.save. So that's your EnCase LM.save file. The 3 on top, that's a setup. .save.
Oh, I'm sorry. This one.
Correct.
And put it in the NAS folder.
Correct. Okay. And now we want to go ahead and minimize this. All right. Now now we want to configure NAS. Click on Tools Options. Click on the License Manager tab. Use License Manager for licensing.
And then we're gonna click on the Documents folder path for that license file.
Correct.
And this will be the same path for the. And for the address here, should this be anything? The IP address?
Yeah, it's going to be the IP address.
And what should I input?
What do you think you should enter in here?
Oh, my IP address for my computer?
Yes. So you can either put in the loopback address, the host name, or the IP address. I would recommend just putting the loopback address in here since it's easier, and then follow that by the port number. So type in 127.0.0.1. And then I think you don't need the port number in here. Let's just leave it without and just click OK, since it knows it's a local machine. And then close out of EnCase.
Mm-hmm.
And then go ahead and launch it again. Perfect. Okay.
Now, one cool trick here too is to confirm that endpoint investigator, the examiner, is picking up a license manager license. You can double check that by going to Help and About.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down, and you'll see that NAS information there.
Okay.
So if it says 0, then it's not being used, or
If it was not picking up from the license manager, the NAS license used, NAS license max would not be showing.
oh, okay.
Okay.
That's good to know. Thank you.
No problem. Did you want to go over the configuration, Daryl?
How much time do we have? Because I know Jennifer has to leave.
At 3 o'clock, yeah.
So we have about 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes.
Hmm.
So let's, it's probably better if we end here because I know the configuration is going to take a little bit longer than 15 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll end up, we'll have another session this week, and then we'll go over safe configuration, we'll go over user roles and networks. We'll start deploying servlets. We'll talk about the enhanced agent, and then we'll go over like some sweep enterprise and some data collections.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, because that's gonna, that's in itself is gonna require another couple more hours.
Okay, perfect.
All right, cool. So we'll stop it here, and then let's see. We'll look at. Oh crap! So the only day I can do is probably tomorrow. I'll look at the schedule for tomorrow, and then I'll send out another calendar invite.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And Victor, am I good to stay with this license to play with it, or?
Yeah, you
Oh.
yeah you can.
Okay.
All right. Well, any questions before we conclude session 1?
No.
No, this is very helpful. And this is going to be on the Confluence website, you said, right, Daryl?
I'm gonna go ahead and have this recording on the Confluence website.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you both. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Daryl and Victor.
No
You're
problem.
welcome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Have a good day.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.